Alright, part 2 of Friday the 13th in-depth discussion where we talk
Horror
about the
review.
scenes.
Friday the 13th.
The remake. Oh, no.
Alright, so we left off with the
So we left off after they leave the store. We meet the main cast and the two main guys clash.
They leave in the Escalade and they go to the freaking
And then so it shows the sign and it's like, welcome to welcome to Crystal Lake. That's what it is. And it's a real road sign because there's like thousands of Crystal Lakes in the U.S.
Like,
so they could have shot it anywhere. So then it shows the cop pulling over Jared Padalecki in his freaking motorcycle. And and it's like the guy from like Hostel 2.
Yeah, when they pulled away out of the gas station, he like left a freaking missing. He like put a missing one of his flyers on the back of the car.
Anyway, so he pulls him over and he's just like, hey, in this room we find out.
Oh yeah, the cop pulls him over.
That was his sister from the original scene, and he's looking for her, and he's just like, yeah, well, did I tell you that our mother had cancer? We used to look at her every day.
We did everything for you, man. We talked to all the witnesses.
There's no evidence of any car.
There's no witnesses. There's no evidence of the car.
Yeah, like they freaking backpacked Crystal Lake 20 miles from like Ann Arbor.
Yeah, they make it seem like freaking Jason like took the car and like drove it into the lake and like swam out or something to hide the evidence.
Like it was an exploitation movie or something.
Yeah,
I know,
wow,
they make you picture
retiring.
that. That's like the first plot hole, and they done it hole.
It's a total plot hole. Like, yeah,
alright.
Yeah, there's no evidence at all. No cars, no nothing. Alright.
So he's like, you better start looking somewhere else, like the other families.
Like the other families?
So then we get to the main cabin. The main cast pulls up to the cabin.
Yeah, and they're like, alright, it's time to party.
And then it introduces two more bitches, Willa Ford and Juliana Gall. 05 smoking hot. Wow. And then the black guy. No, and then Juliana Gall's like, there's no service out here.
And black
so that's a script convenience, so they can't call the cops.
Are you serious?
Off the bat.
I got work, man.
He's like, I got a business deal going down this weekend.
Like,
I'm trying to get a record label off the deal.
And
then Willa Ford's just like, oh, what is it, rap?
And he's like, dude, that's fucked up. You think just because I'm black, huh? Rap? She's like, oh, I'm sorry, you're right. And he's like,
of course it's rap.
And he's like,
and then it's like, bump it up. And it's like some whack ass rap song that freaking Platinum Dunes just like paid like $500 for. They like spent no money on it. They should have got like a real rapper.
They paid like $10.
I don't even know who it was. This is what people think rap sucks because they play shitty rap songs in music.
They just paid like in
movies.
Anyway, play that song. Anyways,
they paid like $400 for someone whack rapper to do that. So it's some tight shots when they pull up to the cabin, and then it shows like
the house is
some mounted animals inside the cabin. It's a good horror cabin for sure.
He's like, there's bathrooms upstairs, there's bathroom downstairs, and everybody enjoy it. Yeah.
Mi casa su casa.
And you're like, wow.
And it was like a classic gay line for like a character that they make you want to hate.
Alright, so then it cuts to
Supernatural riding his freaking motorbike. And he
goes up at the old lady's house.
And it's like a long driveway through a cornfield. It's badass scenery. And they picked a badass
And when he pulls up to the old
scene.
lady's house, it's like a whole old cars around and like,
it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre style. And she's like, he's like, I wonder if you seen my sister.
He's like, yeah, I wonder if you see my sister. It's like a dog barking.
She's gone missing. She ain't missing.
She's dead. And you're like, oh, it's like so
and I'm
raw.
like, I wonder what the inside of her fridge looks like at this point.
Yeah, like I bet her fridge looks like the freaking Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And then she's like, she's dead. And he's like, what do you mean?
And he's like, oh, you just tell me my sister's dead.
People go missing around. Anyway.
Alright.
So then it cuts back to the group at the house. And they're
it's a
playing
good horror
drinking.
Feeling right there.
Yeah, they're playing drinking.
So then it cuts back to the party
games. They're playing drinking games in the cabin. And then what's his name? Trent, the owner, the douchebag. He's like, this is an outside game.
Yeah, because they're freaking playing the beer pong stone.
Then he goes outside with like the girl who you think is his girlfriend, Daniel
they lead you on
Baker.
forever.
And he's like, there are a bunch of drunken hoodlums in there.
Oh, yeah,
I can't leave them alone.
They're hoodlums.
She's like, let's go down to the lake.
Hoodlums.
He's like, I can't. I have to babysit.
He's like, I gotta babysit these hoodlums.
And it's like an awesome yard and like huge old
Oh yeah,
ass
and like
trees.
a nice ass walkway, like patch of garden, you know, where everything landscaping is gorgeous.
Oh, then it cuts to back to Supernatural. Cuts to another awesome shot, the barn scene, as we know. What's his name on the motorbike shows up there because he's passing out the flyers looking for his freaking sister. And it's like the freaking kid, and it's like Ben Hadley or something. It's
Like working on, he's like
working on the old.
He's like putting in some wood, shredding up some wood.
He's like, this is Mr. Garrett's property. I'm surprised he didn't
and
shoot
he's
your
like,
ass.
damn. He's like, you scared the piss out of me. He's like, you're lucky, Mr. Marion. Come on, put some buckshots in your ass.
And he's like, you see my sister? He's like, nah.
He's like, no, she's pretty hot, but yeah, somebody's been stealing his kerosene too. Awesome.
Some asshole's been stealing his kerosene. So you're thinking, Jason steals all the kerosene. It's hilarious.
And you're like, what? Jason steals all the kerosene?
And he's like, and he goes to leave, and he's like, oh wait, I almost forgot. You want to buy some weed, man?
You want to buy some buds?
I just found a shitload out there.
He's like, I just found Jason Voorhees' stash out there.
Yeah, so Jason's a badass. He just grows all the weed and kills all the people who tries to steal it. That's what
he's a hunter-gatherer.
He's a grower-smoker.
He's a grower
killer.
A killer, and a natural-born killer.
And then it cuts back to the cabin, and it's like the guy wearing the Fuck Christmas shirt, remember? That's what it said. Yeah. And he wants to go to the boats. And he wants to go to the docks with Willa Ford.
Oh yeah, so he comes outside and talks, like that couple comes out.
He's like, don't use my fucking... He's like, here, you can take my Escalade, but don't drive the boat, asshole.
He's like, I trust you, man.
So of course he's going to drive the boat, as we know, because it's a total movie.
And also, like, before we even get on, he's like, hey, he's like, you guys want to come with me? And he's like, no, like, behind the chick's back. And he's like, no, I want to freaking...
Yeah, so it cuts to Supernatural. What's his name? Clay shows up at the douchebag Trent's house. And then that's when the bitch answers the door, and she's like, want to come in and have a drink? And he's like, and then Trent sees him, and he's just like,
it's like,
what the hell are you doing here, dude?
Dude, what are you doing here?
He's just like, I don't like you, and he's just like,
hey,
I don't know
cool,
you.
Bro.
Yeah, you don't know me.
Yeah, so get out of here.
And he's like, it's so funny, I just said that.
Hey, it's so funny, I just said that, you know? And he's
like,
like, get out of here.
And then so the chick goes with him, because Trent's being a douchebag. And it's like, he's like, I'm going to go and check out the other side of the lake.
And she's like, you need company? And he's like, sure, I'd love company, thanks.
And then it cuts back to the barn scene and Ben Hadley.
Oh yeah, like smoking a fag.
He's smoking a wet J because he just pulled the shit in the middle of summer. It's not even fully grown, so it wouldn't even be potent at all. So he's rolling wet J's and like rolling.
It's like September buds.
Even though it's freaking Friday the 13th and it's the summer, you douche. What the hell are you doing? Play the music and start talking, you freaking moron.
Wow, strong words from JVM 2005. Alright, so
let's talk about the barn scene.
He's hitting the wet beat, and then freaking he's looking at some porn.
This is a huge scene.
Then he's weighing like a fat nug, and then freaking he hears a noise upstairs. So then the freaking kerosene guy goes.
And he tells the bear, the mounted bear, he's like, don't smoke weed,
he tells
asshole.
the bear, he's like, don't smoke weed, motherfucker.
And he hears someone stealing the kerosene again.
And he doesn't see anything, real quick. So then he like runs to like the freaking mannequin. And he like rips off the like freaking the sheet that's covering to keep the dust off it. And he's like, oh
he's
hey,
like, remember when you took my virginity?
He's like, hey Lila, or something. He's like, remember you took my virginity?
So then Jason shows up.
It's like a freaking mannequin.
Jason shows up, of course, and he turns around. And he's like, motherfucker.
Oh, and
he rips off his potato sack.
He rips off his potato sack, and he's like, "Oh, his face."
And he's like, "That shit ain't right, dude."
And he's like, "Oh," and he's like a
so
total,
Jason slices him in the throat.
Eminem wannabe. And you're like, "Oh," slices the throat. It's a pretty tight shot of the blood.
And then it's like an attic scene, and the sun's barely peeking through. It's awesome.
He looks down, and then it's the freaking hockey mask just chilling like underneath some stuff.
Oh, and the sunlight's
and the sun rays halfway on it, and it's like,
And then he puts it on and he looks into the broken mirror.
And you're like, oh, this is tight.
It's pretty tight how they do it.
I thought it was pretty tight. Alright, so,
as we know, the remake's like a combination of like part 1, 2, and 3 rolled into one. So what does it cut to? It cuts to Clay and the bitch walking in the woods.
Oh yeah, talking like, so.
And then he finds the...
What's your mother
What's his name? James Angry Video Game Nerd's freaking GPS broken.
Oh yeah,
in
and he's
the woods.
like, huh.
So they're walking through there. Music scene on the boat.
Also, no, it cuts back. It cuts back to the party, and the black kid and the Chinese kid are hitting the ball.
Oh yeah, and he's like, "You've been cheating on me with a bowl."
He's like, "You've been cheating on me with a bowl." He's like, "A ball, dude."
No, then it cuts
the black
to
kid's
the
like, "No, man,
Willa
no."
Ford and the blonde kid music scene on the boat where they're jet skiing. They're like, "All right, let's go." And then they're just like. And then it does. While this is happening, it's like shoot the boot drinking scene where they're like playing more drinking games.
Between all three of
they're
these
playing beer
going
pong,
on.
and the loser has to drink like a
and the
shot
freaking
of,
blonde, he's like, dude,
like,
it's my house, my rules. I'm not drinking that shit. And the Chinese kid's like, oh well, I'll still drink it out of my sick ass boot.
And it's a total prop shoe, brand new shoe that they just waxed the side of and made it dirty. And Aaron, you took a shot of beer out of it.
Yeah, they went to Champs and brought a brand new shoe and like put a little scuff on the side and then they filled it up with beer.
So then it goes back to the boat scene.
And then she falls off a wave and then he freaking turns around and he's like, alright, yeah, surf's up.
As we know, this is when the first one of them gets killed in the main cast.
And then she's
like,
like,
shot
woo!
right in the back of the head. Like
she's
it's
like,
wrong
woo-hoo!
turn or something, the mutants. With a bow and arrow.
And then freaking he's turning around and he's like, yeah, alright. And then he gets shot right in the dome and like freaking like Jason's like.
So then the boat's going straight and she's in front of it and she gets whacked in the head.
Oh yeah, she's like, yeah, woo, while it's still coming at her dome
it's
and
pretty
it nails
tight.
him. She gets hit with the blade, propeller blade. Alright, so then Jason goes under the dock. She's under the dock.
No, it shows him with the machete. It shows like a still shot.
Oh yeah, she's looking at him.
I gotta
like,
say
oh,
this
goodness.
too. The first half of the movie, they do it at a fast pace and they edit it at a fast pace, and then like the second half when it's all dark and you can't even see shit, they make it all like 70s like filler style. Where they just keep on filming.
They do
one
make
take.
it slower at the end when it's all dark and shit. They
but the first half of the movie, it's like a lot of shit thrown in.
And you're like, wow, really?
Which is why they should have done a proper origin story for the June 13th, 1980 shot. So then we see Willa Ford under the dock in that kill where Jason stabs the machete through him.
Real tight shot where it stabs in her head and then picks her up and it's like her tits and everything, but still. And then it hits her head, clunk, and the knife goes out, you know, because he's pulling.
Oh, then the birds like fly away, like it's the Notebook
like the birds
or something.
flying, and it's like all the trees.
So then it cuts back to Supernatural and Daniel Pennebaker as they walk up to the under the Camp Crystal Lake sign. It's badass.
Oh, it's
so they make it to Camp Crystal Lake where Jason drowned, supposedly, but they didn't even show what happened or anything, which is whack.
And then also by this time, this really shows.
This is when the sun's setting and it gets fully dark now by this scene. And then we're going to be talking. Then they search the cabins, and that's we're going to lead off for part 2. Or part 3. We're going to wrap this up.
Alright, part 3 of the Friday the 13th review.